Well, we're just about the appointed hour. So we'll give about one more minute here. And then we should have plenty of time for some Q&A and discussion as well for those who questions, thoughts, comments. We'll have some extra time, I suspect, near the end of the session, and also kind of halfway between. I try to take multiple pauses and kind of see where we're at. But looking at the clock, we're a little after now our 12 o'clock hour. So I'm probably going to go ahead and get things started. I know we're missing several folks, but I do know that we're recording this, and they may also get a copy of that. And so we'll go through the things that we would typically cover in a session like this, but also Jillian, Safoni, Crystal, any questions, things that you have, or stuff that we don't just get a chance to talk about enough. Feel free to jump in, and I'm happy to answer those questions about the program. And we'll go through a variety of things here at the appointed time that we have. So, first and foremost, introductions. My name is Dr. Zac Goldman. I am the program director for the online MBA at the University of Louisville. I've been very fortunate to lead this program now for going into my 7th year, which is hard to imagine. We've been at this now for 7 years. The online MBA program launched in 2019, and I was appointed shortly after that. And it has been a program that and I think everybody who's involved with the program from a staff, faculty, student, alumni perspective, we're all very proud of this program, and to be a part of it is something that I take a great deal of again, pride and significance in because of how much work many people, countless people have put in. And we'll talk about that as we go through the program. But let me just start with a couple of questions I always kind of get out of the way or mention up front, because I think it's two of the most important questions that an information session like this can really cover, which is number one, why are students interested in the first place in an MBA? And I know several on this call, Jillian included, Safoni, myself, we're involved in these conversations pretty much daily at this point, where we talk to people from all types of backgrounds who are considering or exploring a graduate degree, particularly in business. And an MBA, to me, is still a degree that I think has tremendous value, and one that continues to unlock doors and opportunities, and creates a future that I think is really, really foolproof, in the sense that an MBA will teach you skills that you can use for the rest of your life. There are degrees out there, and certainly we'll talk about this in just a moment, but AI and technology and a lot of things are disrupting how we think about college, education, graduate school, etc. And there are degrees that I think are really starting to show some of their limitations in terms of their future value that they offer to students and alums. But I think an MBA is actually one that is actually elevating and increasing in its value at that time, because we do address these technological disruptions. We do talk about managing change when you deal with no shortage of it in this day and age. We talk about how new technology like AI and other forms can really transform businesses, industries, and a variety of other operations that are involved with the various work that we do. So I think this is something that is really important, that if you're on the call today or if you're watching this recording, you're thinking about that question first and foremost: is why am I doing this? What am I expecting to get out of this? Because I think that's the question that will guide you. It's a similar question to what my graduate program director asked me the first day I stepped into my master's program, is what's your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And I think it's the right question to start with, because if you know those and you have them clearly defined for yourself, there's so many ways that the MBA can unlock potential. And we, as our faculty and our staff and our colleagues at UofL, are ready and eager to help you to do that. But it does really require some reflection up front as to why you're seeking this in the first place. Second question is obviously a series of potential questions, in that we are here today to address things that may not be known or are not easily found about the online MBA program. And that's why I love doing sessions like this. I love being able to talk about some of the nuance of the program, some of the things that you don't always see on the flyers or the websites, and some of the stories behind the program. Those are things that I find really fascinating and I think are really compelling. But we want to get to your questions today. So if you are a student, a prospective or interested student, if you are a colleague, a staff member, a faculty member, etc., we'd love to know, what questions do you have about the program? We believe a lot in open communication with the online MBA program. We try to communicate the value, we try to communicate the opportunities, but I'll also, in just a short time, communicate the challenges. What are the challenges of getting your degree online, particularly an MBA? Because I think those are all things that need to be communicated up front. We need to have transparency. We need to have expectations for students, for faculty, for staff, for everybody who comes into a learning environment like the online MBA program at U of L. So those are kind of the two things that I want to challenge everybody on the call to think about as we transition into just a little bit of an overview of what this program really is and its origins and how it's really been developed over the years at U of L. The online MBA program, as I mentioned, did launch back in 2019. So we are entering now our 7th year of online MBA programming. Now, the thing I note about that is that while the online piece, the modality of teaching an entirely online program launched in 2019, the University of Louisville has been offering an MBA degree for decades. And I think that's important to note because there's a credibility factor that comes with that. There's an integrity factor. There's a quality factor. There's an expectation that when you have an MBA from the University of Louisville, whether online or in person, you're getting a quality experience, a quality education, and you're going to be connecting with quality professionals across the board. And I think that's something that everybody coming into a program like this should know is that sometimes people hear online, they think online, and there's a lot of perceptions out there. And I won't try to diffuse or kind of combat all those perceptions. But some of them center around, it's easier, online degree, that must be easier. I could not disagree more, though, with that particular idea because we, the faculty and the staff, particularly of the online MBA program, have taken a great deal of pride in making sure that there is nothing easy when it comes to the integrity of this degree about this program. We try to make it easy from a convenience standpoint so that you know how to log in, that you get everything you need to get started, that you know how to get into the program from an admissions point of view, and you'll hear a little bit more about that at the end of the call in just a little while. So we try to make those parts easy because no one wants to go through unnecessary headaches, right? But at the same time, the education itself should be a high bar. If you're getting a graduate degree from the University of Louisville, there's an expectation that you are performing at a very high level, and we will continue to hold that bar while offering the flexibility that online does provide us. So I say that I always kind of mention this as two pillars. Those are really the two pillars of the program, quality and flexibility. And when you think about that, all these other bullet points, which I won't read to you at the moment, I'll highlight a few, all of them stem from those two pillars, right? So the standpoint that we want a quality degree, that means you're going to be working with some of the very best faculty, some of the same faculty that teach in our seated programs, our traditional kind of in-classroom programs, are the same faculty who are teaching in our online MBA program. That's quality. We want to make sure that you're getting the very best that U of L has to offer. At the same time, we also want to offer flexibility. That goes into things like asynchronicity or asynchronous program, meaning you can complete your degree and your classwork at different times of the day, different times of the week. We do have deadlines. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. They are often on a weekly cadence, so you often will have assignments that are due, for instance, on a Sunday evening, and then coursework that's released, week over week over week, sometimes multiple weeks in advance, so that you have a lot of flexibility on when you complete your coursework. But there are still deadlines, there are still expectations, because we do still offer a high quality degree experience that rivals and parallels all that we have come to expect from decades of MBA education at the University of Louisville. I'm not going to go into some of these other bullet points. Again, you can read some of them for yourself. I'll talk about the class structure a little bit more in just a few slides, but I do want to highlight that these are some of the key features, several of which, including things like our international trip, our electives, and others I'll be getting into in just a few short moments. I, though, love talking first and foremost about the people that make up this program, because I think that's, in this day and age, what's most important is who am I going to be learning with and who am I going to be learning from? Those are questions that you can't find a lot of that information online. We do try to highlight some of our demographics and some of the information about our admitted classes and things like that. But the reality is you're going to be working with a group of professionals and individuals who I think incredibly highly of. And I'm going to start with your fellow students, with our cohorts, because we have a cohort model in the MBA program that is true for both the online modality and the in-person modality, and we really believe in it. We believe that when you go through a program like this in a cohort, meaning with teams and with people that you get to know over time, that it really strengthens the experience, that it strengthens the connections that you're able to make, not just in the classroom and what you're learning content-wise, but how you can connect it outside of class. And those relationships are such an important part, not just of an MBA experience, but of a graduate degree in general. I still have several of my friends and colleagues from grad school that I've had a chance to stay connected to now 10 plus years since I finished my PhD. And these are people that I call on, rely on, and work with in a variety of ways now a decade plus later. And I think that's really special. And that's something that graduate school can offer to everybody who pursues a graduate degree. And a cohort model really strengthens that. And so we have one of the best cohort models, in my opinion, in the world, especially when it comes to online graduate programs. We take in 2 intakes a year. The first one, the next one coming up here in the fall, and then following that, we do a spring intake, which actually begins in January. I could say so much about the different students who come to this program and the people that compose these teams, but I think this picture does, I think, a really good job of visualizing that, illustrating that. This is our most recent graduating class who just finished up. This is actually our 10th graduating class. I said we are about 7 years old with those 2 intakes a year that started after a year or two after we started. We just graduated our 10th class from the online MBA program, and this is several of those people right there on the screen. And I can tell you stories just about every single one of them. And it's really special when you get to know people like this, when you get to have these relationships and these experiences, and then you get to celebrate things like this at the graduation together. That is something that I think makes U of L and our online MBA program really special. And it takes a big village and team of people, from our staff to our faculty to our administration, our leadership team, to everybody involved, to really buy into that, to make it so special. I could say a lot more about it. Here's a few quotes. I'm not going to belabor that point. And again, this is a recorded call, so you can always go back and pause it and kind of read these in more detail. But these are 3 of our former students who spoke to what the cohort really means to them, why it was important to go through a program like this with other people. And Sarah, Raymond, and Michael are 3 people who I have an incredible amount of respect for, as all 3 not only completed the program, did so in very high standing, and now have gone on to do some incredible work and some incredible things after they have graduated the program. The last thing I'll say about our cohorts, and I kind of alluded to this just a moment ago, but I think this really helps illustrate it. They're a diverse group of people, and I say that very intentionally. When it comes to business, you're working with a diverse group of people, and that's something that I think every business leader understands after certainly an extended period of time, is that you need multiple points of view. And I mean that from multiple lenses. Sometimes you need a marketing professional, an accounting executive, and a sales professional all in the same room at the same time to figure out a problem. That's fantastic. Sometimes you need an engineer, you need somebody who's keen in strategy, and you need somebody who understands the broader microeconomics of the product or the service that you're debuting. That's great. Well, that's what our MBA program offers, is that kind of experience, that kind of opportunity to work with people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different industries, different areas, and so that you can do that in a way that really maximizes what you're able to learn. And I think that's really special. So I won't talk about all the different employers or industries, but I do love just acknowledging this as well. When you think of the University of Louisville, I'm sitting right here today. I'm fortunate to be on campus today. It's a beautiful day outside. It's a quiet campus today. It's the start of our summer term. But you would think that most of our students are just from the region or the area. And while we certainly have a lot of students from Kentucky, from Indiana, from the greater region, we are very fortunate that we also have students from all over the world. This map is obviously the United States, but you can see some other countries down there at the bottom. You can also see, what you won't see, but what you may also note is in the footnote, we have a lot of students working overseas, particularly our military members. So this is truly becoming, in this first decade or so of its existence, a global program that attracts students from all over the world. And that is something that I think is incredibly special, because business is something that occurs all over the world, right? When we're working in these large organizations, it's not enough just to interact or connect with our colleagues from Louisville. That's great, but you think about an organization like UPS, which flies over this building once every couple of minutes or so. They're working with people all over the globe, and they're not the only one. Most business today has some form of globalization, whether it be through supply chain, direct operations, etc. And so it's important to have that kind of perspective, that kind of foundation when you're engaging in a learning environment like an MBA program. All right, I'm going to pause for just a moment. I'm going to double check the chat. I saw some things coming in, but it looks like my colleagues there are helping do a good job of summarizing those points. So thank you for that. I am going to just take a quick moment to see if there's any questions so far on anything that we've covered before I transition into talking about our faculty. Not hearing any, then I will continue onward. But I will say a quick note about the faculty, and then I'll kind of highlight this team model. I've worked at several institutions in higher education. I've been fortunate now to be teaching and or working at universities for 15 plus years now, which is hard to believe, but been doing it for a little while. And I can tell you that the faculty that we have here at the University of Louisville, particularly in the College of Business, are some of the very best faculty I've ever had a chance to work with. And I mention that to especially our students who are coming in or thinking about coming into the program, because you need to know who you're learning from, who you're learning with, who built these classes, and why do I care? Because this is really what it is that you're investing in is your education. And so you want to know that you're in the hands of good educators. And I truly believe that faculty from the College of Business at U of L are some of the very best in the world. And not only that, do you have the hands-on personal experiences and collaboration opportunities with our faculty who work full-time right here in the College of Business where we're at currently. You also get to work with what we call our instructional team leaders, our section leaders. And this is really so that you get the best of both worlds. Our section leaders, the short version of what I would say about them, and there's more that we'll talk about as orientations and things draw closer. These are qualified professionals, all of them with a master's degree or higher themselves, most of them working full-time in a professional capacity. So it's a chance to not only think about and learn the academic side, like in this case, Dr. Ryan Quinn, who is our full-time faculty member that leads up our leadership and organizational behavior course. He also runs our Center for Positive Leadership at the University of Louisville College of Business. He is somebody who is well regarded in the field, has published a lot of things on positive leadership, has written books. I have maybe one or two of them somewhere on my bookshelf over there about leadership. So you're getting the academic front edge leading side of how we think about leadership and organizational behavior from our perspective, the academic side. And I teach as well in the program. Been fortunate to be a full-time faculty member throughout the entirety of the online MBA. But you get that kind of perspective from Dr. Quinn and others, along with somebody like Rick Purdy, who is a senior executive and has been working for many years in Louisville, including stints, I believe, at Humana and other places here in town, and somebody who I think has practiced and demonstrated an advanced level of understanding for leadership and organizational behavior for years. So you're getting the best of both worlds, and that's really important because an MBA is both a degree that's based in high research or practical research, hands-on learning opportunities that our faculty provide, but also experiences like those of Rick Purdy and others who really bring that grounded perspective to our classes. And I think that's what makes courses like this so important and so special in terms of the impact that they're able to have. I mentioned Humana and Rick's background, but there's so many others that I don't have a chance to talk all about today. But just a few, of the logos and the brands that you see represented here, all affiliated, all part of the online MBA through these section leader roles. And it's truly an incredible honor and an opportunity to work with these organizations through their professionals, through their leaders, and to have them connected to the program in these meaningful ways really does make a difference, especially for those who are local to Louisville. It's a great opportunity to connect with these employers and these people in various leadership roles. But it's also important even for people outside of Louisville to get that kind of experience, connection, and opportunity. I think it really does add a value to the program. All right, I mentioned I would talk a little bit more about the class structure, and this I think is the best opportunity to do that. Let's talk a little bit about what a typical semester looks like and then how that kind of breaks down into individual classes. First of all, beyond this slide and maybe a few others that you'll see at your various times in the program, we don't refer to semesters very often in the MBA programs. That's just because we run 5-week courses. And so, one of the things that we're kind of thinking about in more terms, what term are we in, first, second, or third term of a semester? And because most of our programs, this online MBA program, our in-person programs, are typically running year-round anyway. So it's not. Semester is more of a undergraduate terminology that a lot of people are familiar with, and I suspect some on the call as well. So we still use that at times, and it still obviously fits into the university's academic calendar. But we oftentimes, especially those of us in program director roles or faculty or staff, are really thinking in terms of 5-week intervals because that's how we've built the programs for the most part. So what does that look like in practice? Well, let's take the first semester of the incoming fall cohort, which will begin in August of 2026. So that first class that students take, first of all, there's several things that we do to prepare you for class. So you don't just get thrown in day one and we say, figure it out. No, we actually have a full welcome week that we do that is preceded by several emails, communications, things that really make sure that you're prepared to get started. But first week of class, you will start one course, MBA 626, Applied Microeconomics for Business, taught by Dr. Audrey Klein. It will be the only course, it's 3 credit hours long, that you take for 5 weeks. So your first 5 weeks, it's the only class that you take in the online MBA program. Pros and cons to that. Number one, by the end of those 5 weeks, even though it's a fairly short period of time, you're going to learn a lot about applied microeconomics. I told you I'd be honest and upfront about the challenges. It's a lot to take in during 5 weeks, but you're going to learn a lot and you're able to focus on that subject matter because we're not going to enroll you in any other courses. Okay, we keep those later in the program. You take one at a time so that you can really give this your focus, your effort, and your attention, because we realize you got a lot of other things going on as well, right? You got life happening. Typically, a lot of our students either have kids or parents or loved ones that they're responsible for, taking care of, helping with in some capacity. If you don't, chances are you have some professional obligations. You got other commitments that you have in your life. So trying to balance multiple courses tends to be what causes the most challenge. And so particularly for these first couple of semesters, and even as we get into the latter semesters, we really try to give you concentrated time to focus on your coursework. And so for 5 weeks, you're taking applied microeconomics. The second 5 weeks, so after you finish that 5-week course, you get your grades, you get submitted, you then begin immediately. So that course will conclude on a Sunday. On Monday, you get enrolled and you're starting in strategic managerial communication, which just so happens to be the course that I teach. So you'd have an opportunity, at least with that first transition, to have a familiar face with somebody there that you have met before. But you're going to be working with me in my course for 5 weeks. My team works with you to really think about strategy, management, communication, all that course title implies. And then as that 5-week concludes, and again, if you're keeping track in the calendar, we'll start in mid-August, run through September, end of September, run through October. And now that third course that you see on the bullet point there, Intro to Statistics and Data Analytics, it's going to start right at the end of October, early November, runs through your beginning of December. Now suddenly you've completed 3 courses, 9 credit hours, which is a full-time allotment, by the way, by federal standards. 9 credit hours gives you a full-time student status, and you've taken them all at one point in time, giving you an opportunity to focus and really digest the materials and get to understand it in a deeper level. And then for the fall semester, we get a nice break. December is one of our only breaks throughout the calendar year that are extended anyways. We do have minor breaks, 1 week at a time in between other semesters. But that fall, winter time period, especially as you enter December, this university tends to shut down, and most of my colleagues and myself, we don't mind it. We enjoy that kind of extended period there, and we encourage our students to do the same, is to spend that time with family and recharge. And so you get several weeks before that second semester starts, and onward that trend goes. I do want to highlight one difference here. So that's the normal cadence flow that most of your time in the online MBA program will go. Obviously, when we get to electives, you get a lot of choice in that. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Those typically will have 2 classes at once, and they'll be smaller classes. So they're going to be 1.5 credit hours as opposed to 3, meaning they're about half the coursework. And so I think that's important to note, because while we really build the core out so that you can digest this material at your pace and at a speed that we know will optimize learning, the electives come about and you have some choice. So you got to make those decisions, and we help you to do that. We give you a lot of information, a lot of structure. Our team works really closely with you to help you understand that schedule. But differences start to occur there. They also occur during that 3rd semester for our fall cohort, because that's when we travel. And I'll talk about that as well in just a moment. But those global business, global learning courses, which the travel piece is optional, that is something that we do during the 3rd semester for our fall cohorts. For our spring cohorts, we actually do that in the 4th semester. And all of those do change up the schedule just a little bit. All right. The last thing I'll mention regarding the core curriculum, meaning the majority of your coursework that is required in the MBA, is this Cardinal Choice designation. It is, in my opinion, one of the most unique things out there in the MBA market, and I can say that with somewhat of an informed opinion. I research this quite often. I'm looking at what other programs are doing quite regularly. I have not yet really seen something that parallels what we've offered and built in the online MBA. Because what it is, it's essentially a capstone-like opportunity in that you're stretching out a focus area of your choosing over the duration of your core programming. So if a capstone, most of you recall kind of your undergraduate experience, capstones all kind of bundled together at the end. They, try to put a lot of pieces together. You're connecting a lot of the dots that you're learning, and then you submit something, some kind of final paper, project, deliverable, etc., and there's your capstone. Well, the problem with that, especially for a program like an MBA, is it's not practical to wait till the end to start making connections. In fact, it's actually counterintuitive to do it that way. So we try to help you make those connections throughout the time in the program. The other thing that's not practical, particularly for graduate students, but particularly for graduate business students, is to just assume that one size fits all, that every assignment that we're going to do is going to relate to every single person in the exact same way. It's not, and quite simply, it doesn't. And one of the things we know, and one of the things I've actually studied myself and have researched on for several years, is that for graduate students, they need choice. They need some sense of how they're applying it and where they're applying it to optimize and maximize their learning. And so we've built both an assignment that transcends program, like a capstone will, and we provide choice for students to help apply what they're interested in, whether that be their career, an industry of their choosing, or an area or issue of their focus that they want to address via their cardinal choice. And we'll talk much more about this as you get started into the program, because there's a lot of little details and layers to it. We, in fact, will host a kickoff session that's personalized and individualized to every single student, which is always really neat to get to know them better and also to tailor the information to one of these three areas that they may be interested in pursuing. All right. I know I'm moving quick, but I want to be mindful of time, and I promise extra time for questions. And so we'll make sure that we are being true to that here in just a moment. I see a few that may have come in the chat, so I appreciate our colleagues responding to those faster even than I can read them. So just signs of a fantastic team there. But I do want to talk about our electives for just a moment, because there are a couple of things that I think really make this program stand out. I just mentioned one of them in the cardinal choice. I do think another is the elective portfolio that we offer to our students. University of Louisville's College of Business has invested for years now, and I've been working with this team for the better part of the last 5 to help manage our certificate portfolio. And this is truly a unique differentiator in a very crowded marketplace of MBAs and all kinds of programs out there. Very few programs have a certificate portfolio like ours. And you may ask, well, why do I care about a certificate? Number one, it is a standalone credential, meaning it's essentially, and we do build this into the curriculum so that you can get this without any additional tuition fees or any additional charges of any kind. You can earn through your elective credits, which are required. So you have to take electives to finish your MBA. But in doing so, you can pick certain electives that will then get you a business certificate, which I actually kind of think of, and it's kind of a weird way to think about it, but it's also an accurate way of thinking about it. It's essentially a 2 for the price is 1 deal, right? You're paying for your MBA, but in addition to that, you're also getting this graduate certificate, which can be a highly specialized, focused area that has a standalone recognized credential at the graduate level by the University of Louisville. That's pretty special. That's pretty unique. You don't see that in a lot of other business schools, especially around the areas that we cover. Why do we cover these areas, you may ask? It's because it's what makes Louisville Louisville. It really is. If you look through, or if you just close your eyes and picture Louisville, Kentucky, I suspect some of you are picturing bourbon, horses, maybe even something like a KFC Yum Brands. There's a lot of things about Louisville that I love and that people who live here we love. But we love a lot of those things that we just mentioned, right? So the bourbon industry is such a huge part of our economy, and we have so many students and alum who are part of that industry. So we have a certificate unique to them, really about the business side of the distilled spirits industry, which I think has a lot of potential and a lot that it can offer even folks who are just broadly or loosely interested in that field. We also have, as I said, we are a very big player in the franchising space. We have one of the only franchise centers housed right here in the College of Business, the KFC Yum Brands Global Center for Franchise Excellence, led up by Dr. Kathy Gosser, who that program offers a graduate certificate specifically in franchise management, which she always reminds me and borderline forces me to remind people that it goes well beyond fast food. Franchising, when most people think of franchises, they think of McDonald's or Chick-fil-A's or all that stuff. But franchising as a business model is one of the fastest growing business models and is one of the most profitable business models in the economy today. And we teach you all about how that works, what that actually entails, and what you need to know if you're interested in being a part of that system. That is through our franchise management program. We also offer a horse racing industry certificate. We are less than 2 miles, or I think right at 2 miles. My colleagues just downstairs from me are equine industry. They will tell you the exact distance, but I think it's close to 2 miles from Churchill Downs. And obviously, the Kentucky Derby is held right here in Louisville, Kentucky. But most people don't realize such a much bigger part of our economy than just that. The Derby itself is a huge event here in Louisville, but the industry of horse racing is such a bigger industry, and it is a global industry. And so we prepare our students for success in that. We do not prepare our students for, I should always mention these caveats, for gambling. It's not a gambling certificate. I always get a couple questions about that. So we don't do the gambling side, although we do a sports analytics class, which kind of talks about where all those numbers come from. But then we also don't teach you how to make the distilling either. I should have mentioned that earlier. It's for, again, how to manage and how to be, what that industry really looks like from a marketing standpoint, distribution, etc. And so we don't do the gambling and we don't make the drinks, but we do everything else as far as the business side of those two industries go. And I think it really is a testament to this economy and this community that those programs have been so successful. Lastly, the two I haven't mentioned, business of healthcare. We do offer an incredible program there in one of the fastest growing parts of our economy is healthcare. In fact, some would argue, and I've seen the data that I actually agree with the argument, that if it weren't for healthcare, our economy may very well be in a recession right now. But because of healthcare and its impact in the economy, that the business, particularly of healthcare and how that's functioning and where are the challenges and how can it be improved, that is something that our students are really getting interested in, and that program is helping prepare them for a career of truly remarkable impact. Lastly, managerial analytics. We know data is everywhere. We know it's not going away, and we know that it's actually evolving faster than we can really keep up with, particularly with AI and other things. And so managerial analytics is really a certificate that prepares our students for success in a world that is flooded and overwhelmed with data. So let me take a big deep breath there for a moment because I get really excited talking about our certificates. We do have another one that we're working on, and I do believe it's appropriate to go ahead and share at this time because it has been approved through the university system, although we haven't fully gotten a chance to update all of our websites and materials yet. We are reintroducing a certificate, repurposing a certificate that has existed now for several years, but we've kind of rechanged the focus, and we are now ready to debut it here in the coming months. But we're looking and expanding into an entrepreneurship certificate as well in the College of Business that I think is going to be an incredible success. We've offered entrepreneurship for years at the graduate level in the College of Business, and this is an opportunity now, I think, to reach an even broader audience with that. So many people are entrepreneurs, whether they realize it or not. They're doing their little side hustles or hobbies and things that they turn into profitable businesses. This is an opportunity to not only take that, but really the entrepreneurial spirit that is the Louisville, Kentucky. So many innovations have come out of this city and out of this community. And this, again, feels just like what I was talking about, part of that spirit and part of our commitment to the community to continue to grow entrepreneurship in Kentucky and beyond. So those are all the things that we offer as standalone credentials. If none of those interest you, which I'm curious if they don't, what else are you interested in? Because there's a lot there. But if none of those interest you, the good news is we still have a lot of other opportunities through our individual courses. So you can look through our whole portfolio when you get to the electives, which again are at the end of your program, and you can decide, you know what, none of those are things that I want to do, or I'm just not sure that I can commit fully to doing a whole certificate in that. And you can take what I call the a la carte approach, a little bit of everything, right? I want just a little bit of AI. I want to learn a little bit more about this whole franchising thing. Maybe I work for one, but I don't want to specialize in it. I want to know a little bit more about something like personal finance, which isn't represented here on the certificate catalog. Well, we have courses like that. We have individual courses, standalone courses that you can put together and basically kind of create your own adventure of sorts and satisfy your elective requirements in that capacity as well. And that is absolutely still part of the program. We charge nothing extra for that either. We do try to make sure that you have a robust option for how you decide to complete your degree through your electives, and I think that's really special. All right. I saved the best for last, folks. I promise, because I could all these I could go on and on and on about. And I suspect some of you probably wish I just don't go on and on. So that's why I am almost done, I promise. But I saved the best for last because these global trips, let's talk a little bit about them. I love them. I do. I truly think they're incredible. I think they're transformative. I'm so thrilled that they are a part of our program in a day and age where it's really challenging to do this and to have this kind of opportunity. I will just tell you that. I won't go into the details of it, but it's a challenging part from a logistics and from just an execution standpoint to get this to to be a part of the program. And yet, to me, it's one of the most rewarding and fulfilling things that we offer for our graduate students is these opportunities. For those who choose to do it, it's an opt-in option. It's not something that you're required to do. We do have a non-travel option that you can pursue, but it is an incredible opportunity to travel the world, to see a part of the world that you most likely would never see again. We go to places like Cambodia, Thailand, South Africa, India, Dubai. We've gone to Vietnam recently. We've gone Chile, Argentina. I'm missing several, I know, but we have an incredible roster of trips that we've gone on, and those change year over year. So none of those are committed for next year or for this incoming class. We try to make decisions based on several things. We have an incredible team who runs those decisions, who are looking at things. Certainly, number one is always safety. You know, there's parts of the world that they change, and we're not able to necessarily travel there with the same degree of safety that we would have in previous years, and so that's part of the calculation. We obviously want to pick places where our students can learn at a really advanced and high level. And so that's part of the consideration. But these aren't just vacations. These are opportunities where you're going in and talking to, interacting with, and engaging with real business leaders working at a global scale. I can't tell you the number of conversations, truly fascinating conversations. Some of them have even turned into long-term partnerships that I've been fortunate to have in rooftops on Dubai, or on the river in Bangkok, or walking through the winery or the vineyards of Argentina or Chile. I mean, these are things. The latter one, we had a conversation with a small vineyard there who ended up being interested in our family business program. We have a family business. Those things are remarkable. That across the globe we have connections like that now that we're able to offer and to extend to our students and to extend to our alumni. I think that's really, really cool. And so this is something through that global business course that actually the global learning course I was telling you about, that you're able to travel and get credit for it. Several of the expenses are actually covered by the College of Business. I won't detail all of that right now because that's something that we'll cover in separate information sessions once you get started in the program. But it is something that I cannot recommend enough. We do tend to have the highest representation, online MBA program that is, in these trips. We have several different graduate programs at the University of Louisville that the College of Business that participate in this. The online MBA tends to be the highest represented amongst the travelers, and I love that. And I'm going to keep pushing for that. And I'm going to hope that eventually we get, if not 100%, darn close to it, of online MBA students who are traveling, because I think it really is that transformative of an experience for students who are able to go. All right. I'm tapping out. I've talked for nearly 40 straight minutes, but I do want to turn some time over to my colleague Jillian, who heads up and works with our recruitment team. She also works very closely with our admissions team. Jillian, I know we have passed officially the priority deadline, but we do still have a window here where we're working with students for the fall intake. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? And I'll skip through a couple of slides here as you're doing that.
Absolutely. And I know, I think Sasha had some good questions. I was trying to answer in the chat for you. So something really important to know with our online MBA is you have 2 starts per year. It's August or it's January. And if you're thinking about August, there's definitely still time. We're rolling admission. So the sooner that you submit your application, the sooner you hear from us. The decision timeline typically right now is 2 to 3 weeks. And so just kind of have that in your mind if you submit your application, that in about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll hear your initial admission decision via email. Really what I encourage everyone to do, and I put in the chat as well, is the priority deadline of May is gone, but we still have time, and the absolute latest that we can consider an app is August 1st. But something to know is that the second week in August is when orientation is, and so could we potentially get a student in last minute? Maybe. But it's a maybe because, like, again, that turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks. And so A really good sweet spot is July 1 because not only can you have your stuff in to get yourself ready, but we do provide statistics pre-work to all of our incoming online MBA students because you are taking math online. We want everyone to be on a even playing field. Even if undergraduate statistics was recent or 7 years ago, like it was for me when I went into my MBA, that pre-work goes out late June. So know that you also are giving yourself the advantage of just having some time to plan, having some time to prepare, and also having some time to go to some of our admitted student sessions. We do a kind of getting to know you speed networking in a virtual info session with our incoming students. We've got some sessions that are just for admitted students as to kind of what to know in getting ready to start classes. So those are all things that start up very soon, if not in June, let alone July. So there is time to apply, but know that I think that's a good sweet spot. Another thing that is probably a big question on everyone's mind is how do I pay for this? We do have a flat rate of $38,500 for our online MBA. That's billed to you in the 5 semesters of the MBA program. So really kind of up to you on the decision of how you want to make those 5 payments. We quite often have students utilize the FAFSA to at least fill some sort of financial gap. But know that just by being admitted to the online MBA, you are automatically considered, if admitted, for potential partial merit scholarship review. We do not offer full funding scholarships. That's not something that's available on the business graduate school level, but we absolutely have some merit scholarship funds available for people, and know that there's no additional essay to do so. If you are in full-time employment right now and you have employer benefits, absolutely talk to HR about what kind of benefits might be available to you. That's an incredible way to pay for school. We work with graduate students all the time that are using employer benefits. So absolutely know that if you need a form or something from the university or a course by course guide, whatever it might be, in order to make sure that you're turning in the correct material for your HR, know that we're here to help you with that. You can also you're also able to stack any external scholarships on top of anything that you receive from our program. And if you are an international student, even living in the US, know that we do also have some international financing options. The one thing which is always a big question, which I guess is on this next slide, is the GMAT. What is the benefit of the GMAT if it's optional now? And do know that if you're getting a 600 or above on the GMAT or a 315 or higher on the GRE, that could enhance that partial merit scholarship potential. I'd say most merit scholarship awards I've seen this last year have ranged from about $2,000 to $5,000. And so I would say that you would probably be eligible for something above that range if you decide to take one of those tests and do really well on it. Are most applicants doing the test right now? No, because it's a lot of time and effort to put into it, and you could potentially still receive some merit scholarship for the items that I'm going to list right now, if those are solid. So first and foremost, if you're ready to apply for fall or are ready to apply for spring, the spring application is live. We'll start looking at those spring apps probably in September, but know that you could go ahead and get it started if you want to. But we need you to fill out your application, create an account in our system. We do need 2 letters of recommendation. These can be 2 professional references or 2 professors, up to you on what who you want writing those letters. But I highly recommend connecting with those people now, especially if you're thinking about fall, because most applicants are usually waiting on the recommendation letters. There are 5 short answer prompts within the application. You choose 2. What we look at more as the College of Business is your personal statement. You'll need to upload a Word document, page and a half. We would love to know in a personal statement what's got you interested in the online MBA, and what are some of your short-term and long-term goals of doing so. So it doesn't have to be long, but it's a way for you to introduce yourself to the committee. We are absolutely the type of program that tries to get to know you on an individual basis and reads your personal statement. So know that for all the effort that you put into the statement, know that we will be reading it as well. We do need transcripts from all institutions attended. If you attended the University of Louisville, know that we will pull that transcript for you. That's a huge perk of being a graduate. You don't have to pay for that transcript. We'll get it to the correct office. But if you have any transcripts outside of U of L, know that you will need to get a copy of those requested, delivered to the University of Louisville's graduate school program. And most importantly, which if we do have an international students on the call, if for students whose primary language is English and who your degree was taught in English, you can have your English proficiency waived. If that's not the case, then we accept 3 different types of English proficiency tests to just ensure that you're ready and prepared to take a graduate program in English. Yeah. And that's, make it really simple on you. If you do not remember my name today, but I'm Jillian, mba@louisville.edu is our service account. I help manage it. So that's a really easy email to know. But something which I know Dr. Goldman does incredibly well as well is know that we're more than willing to connect with you and meet with you personally. So if anyone has an individual experience that you want to kind of share with us as you're kind of thinking over the decision of the online MBA program, know that it doesn't just have to be this one session. I'll include my contact information below as well. But just know that I am more than happy to meet with you virtually, should you want to do a follow-up meeting to talk about the application. So, but
I couldn't agree more, Jillian. In fact, I was actually just, as you were finishing up there, I was texting a former student of ours, a former class president, actually, whose brother is interested in the program, and we're meeting for coffee in the morning. So I think those kinds of opportunities, we're always trying to get connected with our folks who are interested and who are coming into our program. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to reach out. Again, our contact information is right here. We sincerely mean it when we do say we want to hear from our students, whether you are already being admitted or getting started in the program, or you're still on the fence and thinking about joining the program. Jillian, myself, our team, we'd love to hear from you, connect with you, and answer any additional questions that you may have that we may not have gotten to today. That said, we do still have a few minutes, and so I want to just open up the floor and see if there's others, and I'll jump back through the chat here, make sure I didn't miss anything. But open mic, open floor time for anybody who has additional questions that they would like us to speak to at this time. Looks like, yeah, several of the good questions were answered in the chat. I'll maybe just read a few out loud while we're waiting to see. Sasha asked earlier about in-state tuition for Indiana. As a fellow Indiana resident myself, I live just on the Indiana side here in the Louisville region or area. Yes, is very excited to see and know that we do have same tuition rate for all states, including Indiana and others where our students come from. So that is certainly, I think, an opportunity for anybody, whether they are here local or beyond. It looks like the GMAT question we just got done answering, so too with the deadline for fall. So it looks like we got a lot of those great questions answered from the chat. But any other questions before we adjourn for the afternoon? All right, not hearing any, then let me just offer a very quick conclusion and thank you. I want to thank our team members for being on today. Appreciate them, Safoni answering and chiming in on the chat and helping connect with our students, Jillian as well, and our entire team who helped set these events up. I also just want to take a moment to thank our folks who are interested and who have joined us here today, and even those who are watching this recording. I realize that people are really busy in this day and age, and there's very little time to do stuff like this. But the fact that you've taken some time to learn about this program and to show your interest in learning and developing and growing in an MBA capacity, I think that speaks volumes of you as individuals. So thank you all for being here. We hope that you'll be a part of and you'll be joining the online MBA program very soon. Because we here in the College of Business at U of L look forward to working with you. So take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Go Cards, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you, Safoni.
All right, you're welcome. No problem.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.